Good morning. I'm Emelina Minero with Curve Magazine, and I'm here today with Robin and Marnie, the co-directors of A Camp. And so I'm wearing an A Camp sweatshirt, and so is Marnie. We're sweatshirt twins. And A Camp is awesome. I went there recently, last week, and you're going to read more about it in Curve print and on curvemag.com. And you're going to watch a lovely video with this interview incorporated into it and some other fun things. So, Marnie and Robin, do you want to introduce yourselves and we'll get flowing?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it, Robin.
Okay. I'm Robin Roemer, and I'm one of the co-directors of A Camp. And I guess that's it for now.
And I am Marni Kellison, and I'm also a co-director with the lovely Robin Roemer, and we've been running A Camp since its inception in April of 2012, and we just finished our fourth successful A Camp this past October 2013.
Yeah. So that's 2 A Camps a year.
Correct.
That's a big endeavor. Like, is that just a lot of work to get all these 2-week events going on?
Yeah, it's been pretty ambitious, but we've had a really incredible staff, which we sort of have pulled from autoshuttle.com, sort of writers and contributors, and they've been fantastic, just really, really great, so that's helped us out a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have learned a lot, and we've our staff is amazing, like Robin said. Most of the staff is affiliated with autostyle.com, and recently we've worked with more calendar girls that Robin has shot for the Autostraddle calendars. And we've also even had some campers, longtime campers, sort of graduate to become staff members. And it is a lot of work, but we've learned enough that we've started to kind of figure out how to work together to more efficiently run the camp and make things happen. And I think we've been getting better and better every time. And this past camp was definitely our biggest and most successful camp yet.
How did the idea for A Camp get started?
Go ahead, Robin.
Well, it was actually Reese's idea. Reese is the CEO of Autostraddle, and as far as I know, she just kind of came up with it one day, and she presented it to obviously Marnie first, and then to me, and then we just, I don't know, she mentioned it to me, and we asked if I would want to be involved in it, and camp has always been very near to my heart, so I was really excited to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. I actually, Robin, think that she presented it to you guys first over dinner at some point. But
oh, really? Okay.
Reese Bernard, she's the CEO and editor-in-chief of autostraddle.com. She's the reason all of this exists. Conceived of A Camp as a way of extending the website to sort of a Web 3.0 concept where the readers of the website and the community that was being generated by the website could be translated into the real world, and all the people that were making up this amazing community in the comment sections and the editorials could meet each other and be together in like a real live space, and that there was this hunger out there for an event that spoke to the type of person that reads Autostraddle. So maybe there's a few different events that exist for queer identified women in the U.S. or around the world. That there's Dinah and there's Mishfest and there's like different kinds of things, but there wasn't. She kind of thought of it as a way to kind of combine those different ideas and create a space for sort of people who are maybe not so inclined to go to a big pool party in Palm Springs, or maybe not inclined to go in hardcore in camping at Mishfest, and something in between. And a place for people to meet each other who are isolated in their own communities, who want to meet other people like them, who are maybe introverted and also kind of smart and funny and like into the stuff that Autostraddle creates, and to create a space where people can meet each other. And that was sort of this idea that maybe we could help the website keep existing and fund the website, or who knows, by creating this thing where people could come and have fun and meet each other and keep the Autostraddle spirit alive in 3D.
Yeah, one thing I noticed that I felt, that the energy and the vibe is exactly what you're saying, like very homey, like very strong community centered. And definitely more chill than some. I haven't been to the diner, but you know, like the clubbing environment, definitely more chill and more relaxed. So that was definitely great to experience.
Well, we're glad you had a good time. It was great to have you there.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Thank you. And so this is the fourth A camp. What has the progression been like from A Camp 1 to A Camp 4?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first one, I remember we actually didn't have a pre-camp. We've been doing a thing where we come up to camp a day early with the staff, and we sort of prep for the campers. We get everything ready in the physical space, and then we also just sort of get like emotionally ready for everything. And we have meetings together, and we talk about like how we want the panels to go and how we see the workshops going. And so the first camp, we actually got there the same time as all the participants, so it was a little bit hectic. I remember we got up to the top of the mountain and we were sort of like, who's allowing us to do this? This is crazy. Like, we're the adults. You know, we had never done it before, so we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants. But it worked out. I mean, everyone, the Auto Shuttle community is so supportive. They were just sort of with us the whole way, cheering us on. So even when things, you know, even when we would make mistakes, they would be very forgiving of that. So it was, you know, we just kind of gotten better at it each time. And I think that this time was definitely our best camp. And I think we're just getting pretty seasoned at how to run a camp and how to make things fun and educational and kind of give a balance of the two.
Absolutely, yeah. Our first time going to Alpine, actually, Robin and I can't even believe it now to think about it, but we actually had never seen the site before we got there to run camp the first time.
Oh, no.
If we hadn't started it, we had found it, but we hadn't been there yet, and we got there the day before the campers were going to arrive, and we had never seen it before. We didn't know what the spaces were going to be like. We were picking out where the workshops were going to happen, you know, when we got there. And now looking back on that, it seems crazy because now we understand the space and we know, okay, we can do this there and we can do that there and we know how to use it. But at the time, we had no idea and we had no prep and we had no staff on site until they arrived quite literally with the campers. This crazy cockamamie scheme we had to have transportation shuttled by actual staff in vans, which had mixed results.
Which you went up the mountain, Emelina. If you can imagine driving a 15-passenger van up and down that mountain, that's what we had to do. So it was not.
Yeah, we had.
It was a little nerve-wracking.
Staff were driving 15-passenger vans from LAX. There was like 10 of them, and they were turning. It was crazy. And now, 4 camps later, that seems so foreign because we've learned so much. Because their learning curve was so steep after the first camp.
Yeah.
And now we put into place a lot of things that make camp run a lot better. And I think that it really translates to a better experience for campers as well as staff, where there's less stress and it's like very organized and everybody can just show up and have a good time like they do.
And what's been the difference between spring camp and fall camp?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've only done 2 of each. But what I've noticed, and maybe Robin's noticed different things, is that spring camp tends to have higher numbers, probably because the timing is better for university students and younger people with school ending. And it's warmer weather, and it's kind of, we have the pool open, and it's warmer, and so we have more outdoor stuff, and it's kind of more of like, it's got a bit of more of a party feel to it, or it has in the past had more of like a looser kind of like, let's all just have fun. We just finished our year at school or our whatever. And then in the fall, it's a mix depending on when we run it, but the numbers are generally a little bit lower, but usually around the same. And it kind of feels a little bit more relaxed, a little more laid back, a little bit more kind of, you know, maybe like people are more inclined towards the panels and the workshops more than they are the pool party type stuff.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, especially this past camp where we had a snowstorm on the first day, a little bit of snow. So it just ended up being sort of kind of cozy. You know, we had like the hot cider and everybody was hanging out by the fires inside. And so it just was a little bit less like, you know, lesbians on spring break and more like, you know, just kind of chilling by the fire with your friends. And so it just is a little bit of a different feel.
We've never done camp this late in the year, so this was our first time in October, and it was definitely the first time we've ever had snow at A camp. And we
Oh
weren't
my gosh.
we didn't know about the snow until a day before when we arrived on. And we found out that it wasn't going to be rain, it was going to be snow, and then we had to sort of make the best of it. But it was so much fun. People were throwing snowballs, and we had cider, and we had fires going, and it was really cozy, and everyone it was really pretty.
Yeah.
And then it melted, and everything was fine after that.
Yeah.
I loved the hot cider. Maybe it's because I don't have hot cider often, but it seemed like the most delicious thing I was touching my mouth. I was just
It was hand delivered by Deanne Smith, right?
I know, I was going to say, on trays. Yeah.
And all the workshops and activities and panels, how do you go about creating that or planning that out?
That's a good question. Well, what we do is we choose our staff, and we one of the ways that we choose the people that are going to be on staff is we have them tell us how they would contribute to ACAMP. So how they would, what workshops they would bring, what panels that they might create, and then we kind of go through those. We go through panels and workshops that have worked well in the past and change them. We come up with new ideas. It's usually me, Marni, and Reese sitting around a table just kind of going through all the ideas and putting Post-its on the wall and just sort of talking about what works and what doesn't, and trying to find that balance.
Mm-hmm. We can't say enough about how creative and brilliant our staff is. Like, ACAMP is what it is because of not just the campers that come who create the community, but also the staff members who come, and they're all volunteers who work for Autostraddle or are affiliated with Autostraddle, and they present these ideas, and they have so many diverse skills, and they come from such different backgrounds, and they have so much to bring, and they just have these amazing creative ideas for stuff they can share, and we have a hard time sometimes choosing between all of it, and then we come up with the camp program based on what the staff members are there to offer. And recently, when we've expanded it to include the calendar girls and former campers, and we're going to keep expanding, the skill sets are just, they blow our minds. We can't believe the amazing people that are involved in this and how much they bring. And that's really, each camp is different because of the different teams that we have in each one and how incredible they are. This time we had cheerleading, and we had meditation and yoga, and we had all kinds of stuff that was new for camp. And each camp will be different because of the different skill sets that the staff brings each time.
And can you tell me a bit about the Color Wars and how that came about?
Sure. Well, that was my idea because I had actually brought it from the camp that I went to a camp growing up and was a camper and a counselor, and we had Color Wars, which at A Camp we call it Rainbow Wars.
Rainbow Wars.
And it was an idea that we thought, the campers sort of bond with their cabins, but we wanted to allow just more mingling. We wanted the campers to be able to reach outside of their cabins and meet other people, even if they were sort of introverted and they weren't able to just kind of walk up to people randomly. So we thought that would be a good way of sort of taking maybe 2 or 3 cabins and putting them on another team together, just to sort of create this camaraderie and we also just I like the idea of having a little competition going on. Marni and I since the beginning have been really pushing for pranks. We're really excited about whenever anybody does sort of a fun, clever prank, we get really excited about that. So it's just kind of an idea just to kind of get everybody talking to each other and meeting each other outside of the cabins that they're staying in.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of hearing about pranking. Before I got there, I ended up doing no pranks, but coming in, I thought I was just gonna I don't know, prank the whole cabin or the whole camp. But that's definitely something I'd like to get involved in the future. Just totally mess with people in a fun and positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good prank is what makes memories at camp.
Yes. Yeah. And the stuff that happens organically at each camp. That's what makes it special, those weird things that happen just kind of off the cuff, things that are happening spontaneously. That's what people remember.
So you can't plan. The most memorable stuff is not stuff that you schedule.
Yeah.
And the carnival this year was new?
Yes.
Tell me more about the carnival.
Yeah.
Well, the carnival was recent when we were driving back from last camp. Reese said, I want to have a carnival at the next camp. Let's do a carnival. And then we talked a little bit about it, and then Robin just ran with it. And Robin said, I'm going to, do you mind if I take over the planning for the carnival? And we both were like, absolutely, go for it. And it became Robin's baby, and it just was amazing. Robin did so much with all of it, the decorating and the planning. I mean, I'll let you talk about it, but it was definitely our first one, and it was a huge success. Thanks to Robin.
No, it was really fun. I mean, it was just, I don't know, it kind of actually, in a way, made it a lot less stressful for most of the staff because it just kind of gave them an open, free block where they could be in charge of things like games or like the cotton candy or popcorn, but they had, 2 less blocks so they could dedicate more time to the panels and workshops that they were planning for the rest of camp. And then Carnival was sort of like this almost free period where people could kind of decompress and hang out and just be together and just have a good time. And Carly, who is our evening activities director, sort of planned the whole main stage thing, which was basically like almost like a talent show. It was the campers would get up and do music acts and stand up and all sorts of things. So Carly ran that, and Deanne Smith hosted the main stage at the carnival. And yeah, I think it was really successful. It was really fun, and I'm hoping that we can do something like that again. Maybe mix it up a little bit, but something like that where we can have an afternoon off, kind of, to do, a fun activity with everyone.
And the carnival is definitely one of my favorite parts. It's great just to have, like, to be outdoors after being indoors from the snow and to be able to roam around and try, like, so many things. Kind of like a recess period with all, your kickball. There wasn't kickball, but, all those different activities you could just roam around and partake in.
Yeah.
Next time if you want. But that was the idea, was to create a sort of a larger block that everyone could kind of do their own thing, and we'd have a lot going on, but you kind of mill around, and people could be social, or they could have activities to do or fun little games to do, but mostly people could just chill out with each other and enjoy each other and have it being a fun together. And had music and games and food, and everything about a carnival or a fair, it's like, that's what it is. You're hanging out and having a good time, and it worked out great. And thankfully the snow melted in time of carnival. And Carly and Robin's puppet show, I don't know if you've seen it, but there are YouTube clips online. You should check it out. They did a selection of scenes from popular queer TV and media, and I recommend viewing for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Well, the real work actually came from Marni, who built the puppet theater from scratch. So if you do see those videos online, Marni built that from like found wood and like painted it and etched flowers on it, and so
labor of love. Every camp I create a project for myself that's too expensive, and this time it was the puppet theater. But it was a labor of love for the puppet show, so that I could give Robin and Carly the stage that they deserve.
I asked about that because that looked amazing. Like, someone told me that someone created that and brought it to A Camp. I was like, damn.
Yeah, we built that and we donated it to Alpine Meadows for their summer camp program for the kids. So it's going to.
That's so cool.
It's going to keep moving on and helping with their summer program. So we were really happy to do that.
Yeah. And there's also bears, real bears, as well as Marni bears. And
yay! Marni the bear!
Today I saw Marni the bear Tumblr.
Yeah, Carly made that.
Yeah.
MarniTheBear.tumblr.com.
Can you share with me your experience of what it was like?
Lower third right there. MarniTheBear.tumblr.com. Check it out. Sorry, what did you ask, Emelina?
What was it like being Marni the bear throughout A Camp?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. The bear costume was an idea that we had leading up to camp because we thought it would be really funny to have it, because we're always talking about bears because there are actual bears on site, and like we tell people not to put food in their cabins, etc., because there's bears. We've seen bears going through the garbage cans. It's this whole thing, bears. And so we thought it'd be funny to have a bear costume, which it was. And the bear costume debuted at the Strip Spelling Bee. And if you are asking what it was like to be in the bear costume at the Strip Spelling Bee, what I can tell you is that it was very hot, and I could not see anything. And I was sort of dancing around blindly trying to like pick up articles of clothing from the floor to give back to the strippers. But the carnival was probably the most fun I've ever had at A camp, because it was, like we were saying before, it was sort of a loose block, so Robin and I were able to kind of relax and not worry so much about running specific things or making sure things were happening, because once we set it in motion, it was just kind of going, and we were able to move around and participate in a way that we don't always get to do at camp, that we often, wish that we had more time to do. And for me personally, being in the bear costume at Carnival was so freeing, and it was just so much fun, that were I in the bear costume now, I would feel very much at home. I would just be very happy, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I was giving out free bear hugs. I don't know if you got one or not, but they were free. And it was a lot of fun. It was just a really great opportunity for Robin and I to finally just have some fun with everybody the way we always want to do, but can't often do when we're busy, looking for tape or walkie-talking emergencies or whatever. We were able to just kind of let loose, and Robin in her top hat and me in my bear suit, and we had a great time.
So what's the Tumblr site again?
It's Robin.
What?
What's the Tumblr again? Sorry.
Oh, it's marniethebear.tumblr.com.
And people can submit Marnie the Bear photos?
Yeah, people are submitting photos probably as we speak.
There seem to be a lot.
There's a lot. Well, she was in the bear costume quite a bit, so.
Yeah, almost every photo of me from camp involved this.
Do you guys still get to experience that strong community bonding aspect that largely the campers and staff get to experience while you're running everything and putting everything together? Do you still feel a sense of that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think more than before. I mean, like I was talking about the first camp earlier, and the first camp I think I was so busy being stressed out, running around and just trying to just figure out what I was doing that I couldn't really get a grasp on that feeling. But definitely the last couple of camps, I mean, especially this year, like in May, and then of course this camp especially, just definitely got a chance to talk to campers and sit down and talk with people one-on-one and bond with the staff, and yeah, so that's really nice to be able to experience that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Completely echo what Robin said. The first couple camps, we were really trying to figure out what we were doing, and we were there and we were present and we were enjoying ourselves, and we were a team, but there was so much to do and there was so much to try to, figure out as we went. That was a lot of running around. It felt like we didn't get a chance to really breathe until it was over, and then we missed it. What happened? And then this time, the last couple camps, we've really gotten more of a system in place that works really well, and we've figured out how to delegate, and we figured out how to, how we can do things better, and we keep getting better every time. And now we've gotten to a place where we have a lot in place in advance, and so once we get there, it's really just a matter of pressing play and we make it happen. And sure, things happen that come out of nowhere. We're unclogging toilets in the middle of the night, or helping people get into their bathrooms they've locked themselves out of, or rescuing people from a snowstorm or whatever. But we really are able to really enjoy ourselves more. I too have had more time to hang out with campers, other staff. It's a reward for the staff as well as us to be able to just go and be there. And the staff, again, they're unpaid. They work for Autostraddle largely, out on a volunteer basis, and they put in so much work throughout the whole year that this is their reward too, to come and be there and being part of this community. And this time especially, everyone really felt like they at least told us that they really felt relaxed and having a good time, and it was probably the most fun that we've had as a staff and as a community this time around, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Other things that you guys take away from A camp? I talked to a lot of people who said, A camp, they felt more safe to be to themselves, or grew more into themselves, or were able to take some of that back to going back into the real world. Did you guys experience something similar?
For me personally, A camp is something that I don't know, it's like it feels real in a way that other things don't. My job, I'm not in a job that I'm doing that feels like it's really speaking to my strengths necessarily. And so when I'm doing A camp, I feel alive and useful and important, and like, you know, like the same way everyone's like, you come there and you just feel real in a way. It sort of feels like a real place where I can be my real self and it matters. That in a way that it doesn't matter necessarily in other places, if that makes sense. Or like you feel like people see you. And I think that the way campers, what we've heard from campers, like a large experience that's echoed is people are coming from other places and they don't have a community like this, and they don't necessarily have even allies where they live, or they don't have any gay friends, or like they're the only person in their town, or whatever it is. There's a hunger to be around similar folks, similar mindsets, you know, to reach people that share your experience.
Yeah.
And at A Camp, for me, it really does feel like I feel alive there in a way I don't always feel in my day-to-day life. And it's just so much fun, and coming back from it can be such a shock sometimes, because it's such a beautiful place, and it's so special that we've made this thing that's just this crazy cockamamie scheme of an event that we've like managed to imagine into reality. And sometimes when I'm there, I have to pinch myself every time, actually, looking around and being like, we made this thing, and look at all these beautiful shining faces.
Yeah.
That keep making it even more special every time. Like it's really special, and yes, it absolutely does feel like nothing else.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think like that's my favorite part about camp is that people come to camp, and a lot of people come by themselves, and they might walk into it with a lot of baggage from home. They might walk into it with a lot of skepticism about how people are going to view them or see them or accept them or not accept them. And every camp, it's like I'm so amazed at the staff, not only the staff, but just their fellow campers, and just how open and supportive and loving everyone is to each other. And it's really it's something that you don't see in the real world at all. In that sense, like it's pretty overwhelming. Like you look around and you're like, wow, everyone is just so just sweet and nice and like caring, and people just, I don't know, you just walk into that atmosphere and you just genuinely just feel the people around you and just feel their sort of support of each other. And I don't know, that's what overwhelms me every camp. And whenever I get back, I miss that atmosphere. I miss being around in such like a positive atmosphere, I guess.
Yeah. I know since I've got back, I've been making like a lot of little changes, like the blog posts on the A-Camp site about the introversion panel. I bought these 2 books to read before I came to A-Camp, and I was reading one of them, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm like equally introverted as I am extroverted. And then I realized once I got to A-Camp that I'm a hell of a lot more extroverted than introverted. But just like living, you know, in the real world, like a lot of freelance work, not getting out as much, like kind of fall into that bubble. So it's really nice to like remember, I guess, my sense of self, and then coming back and making little changes, like biking to coffee shops instead of doing work to be around people, or you know, being out more. So it's really cool to be able to take stuff like that away from people.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We've had campers that they come to A Camp, and I say campers, but like, I mean, everyone's an adult, you know, in different stages of life, not to infantilize anyone. But some folks, they come to camp and then they come back to their lives and they move cities and they change their relationships and they come out to their families and they come out to their friends, or they leave a bad relationship they were in, or, you know, all kinds of things. People are making huge changes in their lives just from having experienced the kind of acceptance and welcoming community that A Camp creates. There's a lot of folks, and this isn't true of everyone. Some people come, they have a good time. Some people come, they have an okay time. You know, but for some people, some of the stories we've heard have just been so incredible of people that just completely open themselves up after coming to this place where they can just be themselves and they realize it's okay to be themselves, and that if they're just themselves, that, you know, and they take a risk, that, you know, it's going to be okay, and that it's worth taking that risk, and just putting themselves out there. And, you know, I can think of a handful off the top of my head of folks who have just, you know, blown their lives apart for the better after camp. Just putting themselves out there and just changing their lives and making them better because they realize that they can and it's going to be okay, and they've got this whole community that are going to hold them up.
Yeah.
No matter what.
One of my cabin mates I was talking to, and she was saying how at A camp she saw all these people, I guess, like, living this life that she always wanted to live but didn't necessarily have the courage to do so. And so now she just moved, but now she's already going to move. But so this January she's going to come up to California. She's either going to move to LA or San Francisco. And like, really excited to, you know, start life new. So I thought that was like really cool to hear stories like hers, and someone else said how they came out to their family and all their coworkers, I think at A camp. They sent out an email, and just crazy, like in a great way, all these changes that people are making from feeling that, what you're saying, like feeling that acceptance and what it's like to be accepted for who they are. So that's really, really cool.
That's what it's about. That really is what it's about. Is moving this community that Autostraddle has created and translating it to the real world, where people can look into each other's faces and see that they have allies. Even if it's strangers, that there are people out there who care about you, even if they barely know you. You know, that's the feeling of that we try to create and cultivate at camp, is this inclusive community that is positive, that is, you know, completely accepting of everyone as they are. And we have staff members like who have come from the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and then after camp turned around and moved to the big city, and, you know, suddenly there's all kinds of pictures of them hanging out with all their new weird friends, and just like, you know, and even this camp, you know, there's people coming out to their coworkers after they get home, and people coming out to their families, and just, it's like we're trying to create a space for people to understand that there is love, that they can be loved for themselves and who they are, and then to take that risk and to whatever end.
What does it feel like knowing that you've created this A camp that's having this kind of impact on people and this kind of reach outside of it?
It's surreal, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we facilitate it, is how I kind of like it, is that we're not the ones making these changes happen. The campers and the staff and whoever else is involved, they're making these things happen on their own. Like, we create the program and we create the space, and Reese came up with the idea, and Autostraddle has created this camp, and we're all working to create it together. But that feeling of community and that effect of community is really organic, and it's happening because of the people involved. And camp, A camp is the people. It's not us. It's the people that come and work for it and are participating in it that create it. It's a living, breathing thing.
I wish I could say that, like, when we started it, that it would be as impactful as it has been, but I didn't know that going into it. I knew that we were going to create a really great event, and I was excited about it, but I think each camp I end up, like, I have like a moment where I'm just like kind of looking around and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is like happening all around us, you know. It's not like we're doing anything. We're making a place, you know. We're providing the space, but everything else is just like, I'm just always amazed, like, at just the people that come in, the campers that come in and share their sort of talents and skills and just their love with each other, and it's just I don't know, it's really cool.
It's bigger than us, you know. It's bigger than us. Camp is so much bigger than just Robin or I or Reese or anyone else running it. Like, it is what it is. It's so much bigger than just us. It's all of us together. Every time camp happens, it reinvents itself because it's a new group of people. And these campers that come are so talented, and they're so amazing, and they have so many diverse backgrounds. Robin and I are blown away every time just meeting people and all the skills they bring and how amazing they all are. And it really is so much bigger than us. Like, it's so beyond just just a couple individuals that are putting together some schedules and finding a space. Like camp is the people.
What has been the biggest surprise or unexpected thing since working on these camps?
I think for me, it's just like what we were just talking about, just how people have made like these really strong connections. Like people have met at the first camp and they're still together. Like their relationships have formed, friendships have formed. People have moved, like Marni said.
Some people are married.
That marriage proposal that happened at A camp, did that spur from A camp?
No. Well, that happened because one of our staff members, her girlfriend was like, you know, I know how much Bren, who's an auto shuttle staff member, an A camp staff member, they've been together for 17 years since high school, and her girlfriend said, I know how much she cares about camp and cares about this community, and I just want it to happen at camp, so we just facilitated that. So she came down and proposed to her at camp, and it was really special. Everyone was, the reactions were the best part.
If I could just take it back a second, Emelina, to the question you just asked about what was something that's been a big surprise, further to what Robin was saying, like, as far as the community goes, like, for me, something that continues to humble me every camp is how much the community, and by that I mean former campers, current staff, former staff, prospective campers who can't be there, how much everyone wants it to succeed. Like, we've done a couple like concerts and stand-up shows, and something I learned from like music and improv is that sometimes people come to a show to see you fail. Like they come to see you fail, whereas at A camp, nobody's coming to see us fail. Nobody wants it to fail. Like people are coming to see us succeed. They want it to succeed, and the whole community is what holds it up. And I think that I find that really humbling every time, because we are not perfect people. You know, we make mistakes. We make omissions. We don't think of something maybe we could have done better. We learn for next time. But the campers will keep it alive, and the community wants this so much and wants to celebrate it and wants it to succeed and make it succeed, that it does. And it's, like we said, it was bigger than us. Like, I guess the biggest surprise for me is how much help we have in terms of the love and support of the community and of the participants, that we can keep growing and keep getting better and know that people want that. Like, they want to help us do that. They don't want to see us fail. They want to help us succeed. And that's what makes camp such a great experience, is that spirit.
I heard rumors that you might get a different venue for Camp 5.0.
Oh, you heard rumblings?
Rumblings, I did.
5.0 will be at the same venue. We'll be at Alpine Meadows again in May. Exact dates are to be announced, but we will be back at Alpine Meadows in May of 2014.
Yes.
So what can we expect for A Camp 5.0?
You know, it's a bit early to tell. We're not even 1 week past the end of 4.0, so we haven't even had our senior staff debrief call at this point. So I think that while we can't say anything specific, we like to keep some tricks up our sleeve. I think that we could certainly say that we are going to keep introducing new things. We've certainly learned that keeping the program fresh and exciting works really well. We're going to introduce new elements. We're not going to, you know, the same way Carnival was a great addition, we're going to keep in that spirit and bring new exciting things to the program. There are different new talent. We're going to have just, you know, new staff, new workshops. We're going to have all kinds of new stuff, but some old classics, and beyond that, I can't really say. You know, I just have to wait.
And then also, you guys had like some performances, like some impromptu singing, Robin, and then some Campapalooza singing, Marni. How was that? How was that being on stage for you guys?
Well, Robin's singing was quite impromptu.
I was stalling for time while Marni saved campers from the snowstorm.
And I'm sorry
so mine was not planned.
High quality. But A Campalooza was, and we've done a couple concerts at past camps where the musically inclined staff will just kind of jam together. And this time we wanted to make it really fun for everyone and make it really like a big party that we all have together and sing along and play songs. And we might do something similar in the future. You know, who knows? It depends. But it's always fun to get together with your friends and sing songs. So, you know, if it works, it works. And who knows? We might keep it fresh. But that's something that we have always enjoyed doing, or at least I've always enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed Big Campalooza. And one of my cabin mates was telling me that was her favorite part of all the music and dancing. Like, she just rocked out dancing the whole time.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, everyone was like standing up, dancing around. There was not too many people sitting at A Campapalooza. It was great.
That was the idea. We wanted it to be like a music festival where people like jam and dance and like, you know, hang out. I don't know, we do something like that again, remains to be seen, but it was certainly really fun. And
so is there someone who's never heard of A Camp? How would you describe it to them, or kind of, I guess that's it. How would you describe A Camp to them?
Oh, man.
We have to describe A Camp semi-constantly to mixed people. Robin, what's your favorite go-to description?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to like. I've never been very good at like the elevator talk, like just coming up with like a quick, you know. I don't know. A Camp to me feels like family. It feels like finding the queer family you've never had, or maybe you've been looking for, or maybe you've been wanting to expand. It's such a supportive and loving environment that like no matter what's going on, and like obviously the panels and the activities and the workshops are great, and we just keep getting better every time at them. I'm hoping, but the biggest thing for me is that like community, that sense of community. That I think I try to stress to people when I tell them about it, because it's so different than any other lesbian event or queer event or women's event out there. It's you know, like you can't compare it to anything else because it's just so different. No, I'm really bad at this.
In a word.
In one word.
Like
I would describe it.
I describe it as like one part feminist conference, one part summer camp, one part party with your friends, where we, you know, it's a queer normative space where we try to create a fun, safe environment for queer identified women folk / genderqueer trans folk of all stripes. And you know, we combine panels and workshops with traditional camp activities and outdoor activities, and ultimately it's just a big fun, you know, party in the woods for a bunch of people that you probably like to hang out with in real life.
Yeah.
I just finished writing but recently finished writing one of the 4 online articles about A Camp, and we touching upon community, and then touching upon, you know, part summer camp, part, you know, feminist conference. I think I said something along the line of the A Camp is part women's college, part summer camp, part that queer community feels missing in your life. So definitely, like, the community is like huge. Like, I love all the panels, all the workshops, all the activities. But one of my favorite things is like those one-on-one conversations with people. And making those connections. It was very, very wonderful.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, is meeting these people that are all so talented and smart and funny, and you know, and some people are extroverted and some are introverted, you know, and sometimes people are quiet for a while, and then it takes a little bit to get them out of their shells. But everyone there has so much to offer that it's just, you know, it's just humbling to be in a space with so many amazing people that are just there to just be there. Like, I can't believe sometimes that all these people want to come to this mountain where we've made this thing, and they all want to be part of it. Like, I'm just so thankful that we have this community to just come together and do this thing together. It's just so amazing and so fun.
Yeah, and I think because like all the campers like come there and they feel like they can be themselves, and then we feel like we can be ourselves, it's just kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like almost like I don't know, you kind of turn into a big kid in a way because you're not like self-conscious. You're not like so worried about what people think of you. You're just able to just be your authentic self, and people appreciate that. And that's just like, where else can you find that? I don't know.
I mean, I did spend most of camp in a bear suit, so that's
Marni is her true self in a bear suit.
My true self is a bear costume. Or a bear.
So is there anything else you guys want to share about A Camp before we wrap up?
I think so. I don't know.
Well, I do want to say that we are actively inclusive of we are pursuing a politic of active inclusivity, and we want everyone to feel welcome. We include, trans women, genderqueer, identified folks. That if anyone's not sure about camp, to reach out to us, to feel free to contact Robin or I, Robin or Marni at autoscuttle.com, to talk about it. That we're actively seeking out ways to be more accessible, and that we're constantly working to improve the way camp to improve the reach of camp, to reach more and more people, and to just we encourage anyone who is interested in camp, who has any reservations or any questions, to reach out to us, to check out the ACamp post on autostyle.com, check out acamp.org for great recaps of everything and to get a sense of what camp is all about. And if you're not sure camp is right for you, it probably is. And to just come to camp and just let go and take a chance and come and join us on this mountain, because we're having a great time and we want you there.
Well said.
Well, one last question, because you said mountain, and then that reminded me of mountain of feelings.
Oh,
so
mountains,
there's
yeah.
this theme of feelings, and that word was like used all the time. Can you tell me about that?
About the word feelings?
Yeah, like the theme feelings and all the planned words of feelings throughout A Camp.
Well, I think that has to do with the fact that A Camp, as we've said, is a place where people can really let go and come and be themselves. And for sometimes that means that you get there and it's just this overwhelming feeling of happiness or of release. Sometimes people have hardships that they're coming from or that they've lived, and they don't, they've been bottling it up, and they get to a space where they feel accepted or they feel safe, and then sometimes things can just kind of come to a head, and when you finally can be in a place where you can let go and be yourself and be accepted, it can be very overwhelming and emotional for people, and it's largely positive, like a positive overwhelmingness where people can just come and just let go and be themselves. And there's also a lot of feelings of love and friendship and wanting to just grab everyone and hug them and just embrace that happy feeling that you have there. That's what it is. It's Mount Feelings, because we have so many feelings when we're at camp, because it's so much.
We just all love each other so much. We just can't contain it. It just ends up being a big love fest, honestly. It's just ridiculous. Like, we just love everyone that shows up. Like, Marni and I run around like on a high the first day, just like smiling crazily at everyone that comes down that hill, and they're probably like, what is happening? But we're just genuinely just so excited to have everyone there.
And then we spend the first day back practically crying every moment that we're not there.
And then we all have breakdowns when we get home.
I got a little bit of camp plague. That just...
Yeah.
I had it. I had the camp plague.
I've only barely gotten my voice back today. I'm glad we're... 2 days ago, I would have sounded like a raspy ghost.
Okay, cool. Unless there's anything you want to share, I think you covered a good chunk of lovely things.
Great. And make sure that, off the record, make sure you check in with Reese, too, because she's in Atlanta right now, but she has a lot of insight as well into camp, and as the mastermind behind it, she's really got lots of visions for the future and things to say, so do check in with Reese, too, when you get a chance, because I think she'd have a lot to say as well.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, we love having you at camp. We hope we see you again.
Yeah, I hope you come back.
I hope we see you again, too, like times infinity.
All right.